And it's now time for the Joy Sports Track. Thank you very much for staying with us on your Super Hits Radio Joy 99.7 FM. It's been a fortnight, in fact 3 weeks since we last brought to you the Joy Sports Track because of the commission that's been sitting on the violence at the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. And we're grateful for your time. Thank you for joining us again today. We have some interesting stuff to talk about. We have a Kotoko CEO on the line joining us later in the show. But first, we'll be looking at the trending issue that came out around midnight today. Kwesi Appiah released a squad for the African Cup of Nations qualifier that will be played here in Accra. As an aside, as you may know, that game will be played at 6 p.m. at the Accra Sports Stadium. However, at 3 p.m. on the same day, we are going to have the very strange phenomenon of another national team in action. This time it will be the Black Meteors, who will also be playing an important game for them. So it's not something I can't remember seeing that before. We'll be having two very important games being played at the same stadium on the same day as well. So we'll touch on that briefly, how odd it is. Benedict Osudankwa will give us the reaction to that. We've tried to speak to a couple of authorities over the period and why they think this has been necessary. But to the substantive issue, we look at the squad, the fact that 5 of the players in that team or in that squad are new, what they bring to the table. 3 of those players are Asante Kotoko of Asante Kotoko stock. We look at what they bring to the table, whether they should be getting a starting berth, and also, should we be worried that many of the guys are not regulars at their clubs? I mean, the African Cup of Nations starts in June, on the 21st of June. By now, we should be having a standing starting 11 that are regulars in, if even not top teams in the world, but having serious game time. Ghana still doesn't have that. How much of that is a problem? To speak to us about that was Coach Jay Sapong, and Benedict caught up with him earlier this morning to get an assessment of the entire situation.
From my point of view, I think it's a good squad. And I think it's a dress rehearsal of what we should expect of the team in Egypt during the AFCON. Of course, some known names have not appeared. But I think the coach knows why he left some of the names out. Most probably to show this people to the crowd, to Ghanaians, that these are people who are either possible or probables to go to Egypt. So for me, it's a balance. Of course, by inviting even some local players, gives you that hope that Ghana football is not all that lost.
You talked of the local players. These are players from Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and they've been playing very well in a CAF Confederation Cup. Kwame Bonsu, Amos Frimpong, and then Felix Annan. They deserve this call-up. Yes,
they deserve the call-up because they play competitively, and they play international football, just like their counterparts outside. It doesn't necessarily mean that you should always play abroad before you are invited to the national team. Even the exposure in playing these competitive matches like this CAF Confederation Cup matches and then Champions League will expose the player to all rigors of the game. So for me, I'm all for it.
There's a worry. If you go through the 24-man team, almost 80% of our players are bench warmers at their respective club.
Well, I think for now it's not like that. It's no more like that. Most of them are monitoring and playing regularly in their teams. So that some of the media don't showcase some of these boys outside there, But for me, I think it's okay for us to mention Slop and others who are playing regularly. Some is playing for Crystal Palace.
I said 80%. 80% are not playing, so the 20% are playing and 80%
but
are not playing.
The percentage is too low. I think you can make it around 50%. Yeah,
This is based on my research.
Well, but your research is not what we see, and I'm saying that your research is not.
But is that not a worry? That what you've gone
It's a worry if a team. You make a call up, and most of the players are bench warmers.
And in this case, that's what we have.
That's your research. I'm saying that even if they are bench warmers, they should come and justify the reason why they should be in the team. Because I know this is not the final list because he's bringing out. He's just a dress rehearsal of what is going to happen in AFCON. So let's see what they bring on board. Okay,
how about the other case where we always call players and they don't give them the chance to play?
Well, that is the coaches. What the coach thinks about the player. I feel if you don't want to lose the player, you don't call him. You don't come and sit at home. Just call the number that will come and take part for you. And play the game for
I'm even talking about the new players that we've called. Oftentimes we make a Black Stars squad, and some of the new players that get the opportunity to be in the squad do not get a chance to play. What do you think Kwesi Appiah should do this time? We've already qualified. If Kenya, we have to beat them and top the group. But what do you think Kwesi Appiah should do? Should he give the new players the opportunity to start this game?
Well, I think that may be his plans for bringing in the new players on board. Those who are coming in for the first time. Since you want to see them to be able to get a full complement of his squad for Egypt. But without seeing these people, how do you do it? Remember when he came on board first, he said he was building a team capable of maintaining that rhythm for Ghana and for the Black Stars. So you could see that he had tried many players in and out. So I think that's why I said it's a dress rehearsal of what we should expect the team to play. So if you are brought in, I think we don't lose anything but we have to beat this team. And the new players that have come, we have to play for us to see whether they merit the call up.
Jeffrey Slop is back in the team after playing some fantastic football for Crystal Palace. I'm sure you're okay with that.
Slop, yes, I watched him on 2 occasions and he's playing very well. I think. I mentioned his name earlier on in the interview that he's playing regularly for Crystal Palace. He's one of the key players of Crystal Palace now. And I think there's one other boy from
Alfred Duncan
of Sassuolo. Yes, he's playing. And most of them are playing regularly. But you said 80%. But we make it 50%.
80% of the players are not playing.
Wakasu Mubarak is playing.
On and off.
Alassane, on and off, but he's playing. Alassane Wakasu is playing. And a few others are playing. So let's see what they bring on board.
So, in a nutshell, it's a very good squad.
In a nutshell, for now, it's a good squad.
Finally, on the Black Stars squad, there is no Asamajan in the team.
Well, I can speak for the coach and I can speak for Asamajan. It's a quick player relationship. You don't know what went on because he was in Turkey.
Yeah.
So he might have seen him. They might have spoken with him. And look, you wait. I'll bring you in. Don't forget that we have King's principal team also waiting on the sidelines, warming up. So perhaps that's why I say it's not a full squad now. This is what we want to see. We want to see this squad, and then later on, I think the final list will be brought out.
So that's Coach Jay Sapon speaking there. Benedict to the studio. You had that interview. Very interesting point of divergence there where the two of you did not seem to agree, even though what you were saying was based on facts. Yeah. So the fact of the matter is that,
and of course you expect that from Coach Sapon.
Yeah, he always diplomatic. Occasionally he will punch.
Yeah,
more than occasionally actually.
But you have to understand.
Oh, I do. He knows it's not easy to be in a national team coach's shoes, and so there are so many decisions that go into call-ups, you know, and you could tell those were unsaid parts of his submission there. Yeah. But quickly, about the more than or just about 80% of our players being bench warmers, who are the regulars?
Well,
Felix Annan is a regular.
Yeah, Felix Annan is a regular. I mean, his involvement at Asante Kotoko in the CAF Confederation Cup. You can also talk about another goalkeeper in the team, that's Richard Ofori at Maritzburg.
So two of the three goalkeepers.
Yeah, two of the three goalkeepers.
No, Ziggy has even been regular in the last 9 games he has been.
Ziggy, so far in the season, he's played 9 games. 9 games so far in the season. But you talk about the other two players, and week in, week out, Kumasi Asante Kotoko Confederations Cup is all about Felix Annan. You go to South Africa, Maritzburg, irrespective of the results they are churning in that league, you still will have Richard Ofori imposed for Maritzburg. Their last game against Kaiser Chiefs, he was imposed. So these two are regulars. Now let's go through the list.
The defenders, Kojo Asamoah. First of all, I posted this in the morning. I mean, it's when I woke up that I saw the squad. I saw that you had posted it on our WhatsApp page around 1 a.m. I was far gone by then. And so when I woke up in the morning, I saw the list. And when I put it up, first thing a lot of people mentioned was, why is Kojo Asamoah listed as a defender?
Well, you look at Kojo Asamoah, Inter Milan. He plays at left back.
Yeah.
And possibly, maybe when Chris Appiah said he was going for the tour to look at the players, he went to all these players to individually speak to them. And of course, since he's coming back and you have other players in midfield where Jeffrey Schlupp has been excelling as a midfielder, we all know that Jeffrey Schlupp can play in the same position where Kojo Asamoah is listed in this very squad. So, I mean, it is right and proper that Kojo Asamoah is playing at Inter Milan and he's excelling at that position. We've seen him play for the Black Stars in that position as well. That's at left back. As a defender, he's not coming to play central defense or right back. If Kojo Asamoah is listed there as a defender, we all know that he's going to play at the left. You understand? On the wings. That's our system. We don't play the left wing back system.
Sure.
So we play the left back and the right back system. That's the 4-4-2 formation. Yep. So in that case, Kojo Asamoah here is a left back, not a left wing back. So what it means is that we've seen him play. It's not something new. Even at Inter Milan currently, he plays there. During the 2014 World Cup, where, I mean, it was after that time that he took that long break. Kojo Asamoah was playing at that same position. When he returned in our game against Kenya, when we deployed him in the midfield, Kojo Asamoah was not too comfortable. He couldn't play very well in that position. I'm not saying that he's not good in midfield, but I'm saying that over the years, looking at where he's been playing at club level, if you list Kojo Asamoah, I don't have any qualms at all.
Yeah, and I'll find the interview sometime. But, before the season started,
with him,
I asked him that, and he said he's actually these days, not like you said, he's not very comfortable in midfield. Because he said Conte rewired him, and so he played in the defensive role, the left back role, the left wing role for so long that he sort of forgot how to play in the midfield.
And it happens to players. I don't even remember Luis Ajman. Some
years
back at Hartlepool, Luis Ajman was a defender, and then as Middendorp transferred him to a striker. And it got to a time Luis Ajman wanted to revert, and it was still not working, so he had to go back and play as a striker. You understand? So I have no qualms there with Kojo Asamoah listed as a defender there at all.
Going on, Lumo Agbenyanu, who plays in Turkey.
Well, Lumo was in Portugal and then moved to Turkey during the transfer window, and Gotsepe now. It's not like as it used to be when he was even at Sporting Lisbon. Things were not going well. And it's still the same issue here. Lumo has played 4 league matches. Just 4 league matches. So the point about 80% of our players not being regular, you can list Lumo as part of.
So we are going. We are looking at.
So we are looking at. We want to build a point. Chris Sapon disagreed, so we have to build a point. And actually,
meanwhile, Kojo Asamoah yesterday, in one of the aberrations, he played in midfield against Paul. So it was one of the few times he played in midfield. Let's go on.
All right. So Lumo now
4 games.
Gotsepe, he has played 4 games. Andy Adam doing very well with Reading in the English Championship. He plays week in, week out. Amos Frimpong, of course, at Asante Kotoko. He's also been playing, if not for the suspension he had in their game against Nkana. He would have played all the matches, and he returned to play in the last game, which they drew yesterday. So he's also regular for his club at Asante Kotoko. Nuhu Kasim, on and off. Very, very fine player, plays very well. But after his injury, he picked up an injury. I don't know if you remember, an injury which ruled him out. I think a game before Ethiopia, he was ruled out of that game. Since he came back,
they played against Dortmund.
He's been on and off. And the game you're talking about, he was suspended in that game as well. So normally when he comes in, he picks up a card and then he's out for Hoffenheim. But he's on and off, so you cannot put him as part of the players that play regular at their club level. Now you move on and you go to Nicolas Opoku. Same situation as that of Kasim Nuhu at Udinese. Yes, he's not getting the numbers that we expect Nicolas Opoku. You know, he picked up top form and was playing very, very well, but now it's not the same as he used to be. So he's also not a regular, and we cannot, classify him as a regular in the squad. John Boy, yes, admits in the French too, he plays regular football, but he's inconsistent.
I got lots of comments this morning. People, because the Black Stars is not a weekly call-up, people still have legacy issues. When I say legacy issues, they judge players on previous performance, and people, why is John Boy there? So there's the verdict. He plays regularly for Metz in France. All right.
Joseph Edu was one player. I don't know if you remember. I think a game before Kenya, he was one of the boys that we tipped to make that squad. He's been doing very well for Genk in the Belgian league. So it doesn't come to me as a surprise that he made this list. And I'm very, very excited for him. He was a member of the under-20 team that played in Senegal and also in New Zealand, the World Cup. And since then, his club career has been moving on very, very well. And I'm very, very excited that he's in this squad. So if you look at the defenders, of course, we can talk of Kuja Samoa, who plays regularly for Inter Milan. Luma Agbenyano, we can't. Andy Yadom does. Amos Frempong, yes, he does that for Asante Kotoko. Nuhu, Kasim, as well as Nicolas Opoku. Not same as that of John Boy. And then Joseph Edu.
So, out of we have 5 defenders who are regulars out of the lot here. Going to the midfielders.
All right, so Andre Ayew at Fenerbahce. Also, you all know, injury issues as well. When he started, he was regular there, but he picked up, I think he hurt his hand sometime back. So Andre Ayew was not getting much playing time. He comes on at times. Not regular. Regular here means you start and you play the full throttle of the game. So, as in every week, you are in and you play 90 minutes. At least, even if you play 80 minutes, we can term you as regular. We don't see that with Andre Ayew at Fenerbahce. But of course, you look at Andre Ayew, what he's done previously and what he keeps doing in our last game against Ethiopia, his influence, his leadership on the pitch. There is no way you will name a squad at this crucial point where you are preparing for an Africa Cup of Nations, which you want to win, and not to mention Andre Ayew. So he's justified to be in there. Mubarak Wakasu at Deportivo Alaves, and Coach Sapon, when I mentioned to him that Wakasu is not regular, I said, okay, I hear. Wakasu is not regular. Yes, he's coming. I said, oh yeah, there's no doubt. Wakasu is coming. That was off record actually. He said that. I told him that no doubt. He said no doubt Wakasu is coming. He's a very good player when it comes into the Black Stars. But in terms of club at Deportivo Alaves, or Wakasu, also not very consistent as he started this season. We saw him play week in, week out when the season started. But now it's not the case. Christian Atsu, this one, I'm sure the listeners would have bailed me out because they watch the English Premier League. And
probably more than you do.
More than I do. They watch Newcastle games more than I do. So
Newcastle do have quite a number of games on TV.
Yes, they do have quite a number of games on TV. And you hardly will see Christian Atsu start some of their games. So he's also...
comes on 70th minute, 75th, 80th.
Exactly. And you cannot classify him as a regular. Yeah. And Kwame Bonsu, wow.
So among the midfielders, Kwame Bonsu is the first regular we've seen.
Kwame Bonsu is the first regular, and he's playing some amazing football for Asante Kotoko. Yesterday wasn't his day, and of course it happens. All great players will have every moment or every day go for them, and that was a typical day it happened for Kwame Bonsu, which he was a little bit off in that game. But we all know Kwame Bonsu has been playing very well for Asante Kotoko in their campaign. That's the Confederation Cup. And as Asante, I also checked this record. Not too bad. He's 31 years. At the point where he was playing for Norgeland. That was when most of us were clamoring his collar.
For his collar?
Yeah, his collar. At that time, he was overlooked. Now he's in a team. Yes, we have to give him that opportunity. He's a regular at Al Jazeera.
In the UAE.
Yeah, and Thomas Partey, at least their last game, if I would judge Thomas Partey as a regular per their last game, he was in and played very, very well in that game, which they won by a goal to 0 at home. Alhassan Wakasu, that's the junior brother of Mubarak Wakasu, also a fine midfielder, plays very well for Victoria FC in the Portuguese league. Very, very good player. So also I have no qualms with his call-up, as well as Jeffrey Schlupp. I mean, Jeffrey Schlupp, week in, week out, playing some great football for Crystal Palace. A month ago, he was the club's player of the month. So his name in there is in the right direction, as well as Alfred Duncan. So you look at the midfielders. Yes, we've got some players in there that play regularly for their
Kwame
club.
Bonsu,
We can talk about Kwame Bonsu, Asante Partey, Jeffrey Schlupp, as well as Alfred Duncan. Duncan, if he's not injured, definitely will start for Sassuolo in the Serie A. And then let's look at the strikers or the forwards. We have Caleb Ansa Ekuban. Well, this man was at Leeds United and then moved to Turkey. His very first game, very, very interesting story he wrote in that day. When he came on, 2 minutes he scored.
Yeah.
Just when he came on, 2 minutes he scored. And since then, he's picked up something from that game, and week in, week out, he's progressing and he's playing very well for the side. Although his numbers in terms of goals not that encouraging, but with the caliber of player he is, if you give him the chance at national level, I think that he can really excel. He has played a total of 27 games, which is very impressive in the Turkish Super League as well as the Turkish Cup. So now we are looking at all the matches he has played in there and has scored 7 goals. So for a striker of his caliber to score 7 goals out of 27 games, if you have to match him with the likes of Lionel Messi and the other top strikers, you say that this guy doesn't even come close as a good striker. But of course, you have to give him that chance. He's very young and he's doing very well. So, and he came from a long injury. At Leeds United was not that consistent, but at Trabzonspor he's getting the match playing time. And of course, if you're getting match playing time and you're coming to the national team, we can count on you. And we have to look at Kwesi Appiah as well. Kwesi Appiah last played for the Black Stars. That was 4 years ago.
So the coach Kwesi Appiah is with an E.
Okay.
KWE.
KWE.
And
well,
then,
it depends on the pronunciation.
And
it depends on how you
Kwesi
look at
Appiah's
it.
official FIFA registration document is KWE.
It's just like mine.
Yes,
KWE.
And then this Kwesi.
This is Kwesi.
It's KWA.
So Kwesi and so I should
AFC Wimbledon. No,
AFC
for the
Wimbledon.
benefit of listeners.
Kwesi Appiah.
So that we don't say that
okay.
The coach is coming to have selected himself.
All right.
To play.
All right. So Kwesi Appiah, who played
Wimbledon.
of Wimbledon, who played for the Black Stars 4 years ago. We saw how he played very well at the AFCON. The one we got to the finals and eventually lost to Ivory Coast. He has played 24 matches in the League One and has scored 4 goals. Together with all the competitions he has participated in this season, he has scored 7 goals. And that's not bad. I mean, that's not bad. Irrespective of where he's playing. He's been regular. Irrespective of where he's playing. You can talk about League 2, where he's playing. But the man is playing and he's doing very well. And we've tested him before, prior to the last 2 AFCONs, and he did very well. So if he's coming back, it's not as if this is the final squad for the AFCON. So if you have someone like Kwesi Appiah coming back, I think that it is okay. We don't have to be overly critical because we have to test our options. And then we can look at Jordan Ayew. Jordan Ayew also not that consistent for Crystal Palace after he broke his virginity in terms of goal scoring at the side in their game against Wolves. Roy Hodgson started giving him the opportunity, but when Benteke came from injury, Jordan Ayew had to revert to the bench. But anytime he comes on,
prolific as well.
Yeah, but Jordan, anytime he comes on, irrespective of the goals, plays very, very well for Crystal Palace. So also I have no problem with Jordan's inclusion in that team. But in terms of a regular player, you cannot classify him as a regular for his club. And then we have the last man standing, Emmanuel Boateng, who has just played a game for his new side. That's he's moved to China, Dalian Yifang. and he has just played a game. So if you played a game,
but he was playing in.
No, he was playing in Spain.
Yes, yeah, and he was regular there.
Yeah, he was. No, he wasn't regular. I mean, he started playing regular football after the hat trick against Barcelona,
yes.
and then injury came in along the line.
Yeah.
When he came back,
he picked an injury shortly before
he picked an injury
call-up.
Exactly, but he was in our team. The last game we played in Ethiopia, he was in the team and played very, very well that day. When he has just played a game at his new club,
China.
so you can tell him as a regular member of the team. So you look at the team itself. We are right to say that 80% of the players are not
Benedict
regular.
So here's something that we have to look at. I'm counting. There's 24 players. You know how many you have classified as regulars?
Yeah.
You know how many?
Tell me.
16.
How many are
16.
16 players are
Yes,
classified as regular players.
We can count again.
Let's count.
Right. So for the goalkeepers, you've named Richard Ofori and Felix Annan as regulars.
That's two.
That's two.
Yeah.
For the defenders, you've named Kujua Samoa, Luma Agbanyanu, Andy Yadom, Amos Frimpong, John Boy, Joseph Edu as regulars. That's six plus two.
Making
8.
Uh-huh.
Right. Midfielders,
Yeah.
you said Kwame Bonsu,
Yeah.
Enes Asante, Thomas Partey, Alassane Wakaso,
Yeah.
Schlupp, Alfred Duncan. 5.
That's 15. With
5.
one.
That's what, 5?
Yeah. So that makes it 15.
15. And then for the...
And the players are how many? 24.
24.
And you say it's okay, then we have to revise it. We have to revise it.
Right. So one of the few moments. So you actually named 17, but I'm making it 16 because I don't think we should put Emmanuel Boateng in there.
Yeah, just
so
played the
16
game.
out of
16.
24
Yeah.
are regulars in there, and that's not bad.
It's not bad.
That's
why I said that. Sorry, you don't have to be overly critical.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is not the final squad for the Africa Cup of Nations. We have already qualified, so this is a time that we have to give some players the opportunity. My only worry is that we'll give the players opportunity to play.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember we brought in players like Majid Ashumeo.
I know. They never got the chance to.
Yeah, so that's my only worry, that when these players come, we'll give them the opportunity to play.
Yeah, so, that's been a criticism of Kwesi Appiah by a couple of people, that, yes, he does spot the guys who are doing well, but he gives them the opportunity to come into the team, but they don't play, they go back. Then he selects another set of new players to come in as well. So, essentially, what's the point? But per our own reckoning on air, Benedict, 16 out of 24. Regulars. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
So we are done with that. We've heard Coach Sapong. If anybody has got any thoughts, please let us know. I've seen one or two on Facebook. Godson Schofield, Miss Sekbo says, I don't think we should be worried, because if the German coach said that Jerome Boateng, Ozil and Muller are no longer in his plans, then we also should be serious. Coach Appiah must learn to prepare for life after the majority of our first team players are retired. And for me, that is the worry. We seem not to be prepared for the exit of the some of the elderly players in the team. We all know that more than 50 players of the current Black Stars players are aged. That's his thoughts on it as well.
But briefly on some of the players, I think that Felix Annan deserves to be in this team per what is expected at Asante Kotoko in the CAF Confederation Cup. You can also talk about Kwame Bonsu. Kwame Bonsu, of course, has been one of the best players for Kotoko in the ongoing CAF Confederation Cup, and we all tipped him to be in this squad, and I'm very excited that Coach Kwesi Appiah listened to us. Coach Kwesi Appiah, as well as his assistant, Ibrahim Tanko, were always at the Barbara Stadium. And yesterday, they were there to watch Kotoko's game, which they played against Al Hilal, and they've seen the players that they called. Felix Annan, fantastic by all standards. You look at Kwame Bonsu.
My only problem of the Kotoko trio is Amos
Frimpong.
I think he's just decent.
He's just decent, but not your typical number 2 who can rival someone like Andy Yadom, who plays week in, week out, and at the very top level. Amos, we are not saying he's a bad player. He's a very good player, but I think that looking at the current Kotoko team, the setup and how things go, I don't think that Amos should be in there.
At the moment, yes.
But Bonsu deserves to be in the team.
He's
worked his way out there as well as.
Right. Speaking of Kotoko, let's just segue into that discussion here on the Joy Sports Track. If you have any thoughts on the Black Stars call up, I think I missed a couple on our WhatsApp console. I didn't even mention the line, but thanks for sending them anyway. 0244-340-437, 0244-340-437. And here's a question that I'm sure a lot of people will be asking. Ransford from Adabraka says, will Kwame Bonsu be a regular in most of the European clubs you are mentioning? Well, if he is playing with this form,
of course he will be.
Yes, assuming, don't forget that he was European based,
he
was regular when in Europe. Before
in
Sweden before he had his issues and went to jail. But his story is one that should be told. I mean, fantastic mental fortitude to have all these troubles.
He was in jail for 11 years, and then after he came back to Ghana, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko
11 months or yes?
Yeah, 11 months. Did I say yes?
Yes,
11 months. He was in jail for 11 months and came to Ghana.
Kumasi Asante Kotoko contentious issue.
Picked him, very, very contentious issue that he doesn't even at times want us to talk about.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Normally when you bring it up, he tells you that.
Assuming if he makes it into the AFCON squad,
of course, that would be
the standard story in international media.
Even with his recent fine form for Asante Kotoko, I saw a piece on CAF Online, where they highlighted the troubles that he went through in the last
his mental
11,
fortitude,
and how he's been able to put himself back and come back so strongly to play for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. I think that his story is one that many people can learn from, going down and picking himself up and becoming one of the best players. And for me, this afternoon, you were asking me in the newsroom my 3 players at Asante Kotoko, and I put him first. He's been great for the club this season. Siki Akono even mentioned it after their game yesterday. He said he was very, very devastated that Kwame didn't really get his A game on, because if he had, things would have been different. We've seen how well he has played for the side in this season's Confederation Cup, and anytime he's on, Asante Kotoko is on. Yesterday he was turned down and the whole team turned down. We brought in Nieje and things didn't work well. And I think that he's one guy that shouldn't be on the bench of the Black Stars. If I were Coach Kwesi Appiah, I'll give him the
especially in the Kenya game.
If I'm Coach Kwesi Appiah, I'll put Kwame Bonsu, I'll start him, and who knows, maybe he will be one of our fine players.
It's important to note that Ghana has already qualified for the African Cup of Nations, so this Kenya game is sort of like the beginning of our preparations. And so for most of us who are watching, we are watching this Kenya game as a very, very big friendly match, going into the African Cup of Nations. The preparation starts now. About Asante Kotoko, but before we finish, Benedict, we know that the Black Stars will be camping in one of 2 places that we know, but we don't know where the final place will be. Tell us more about that.
Well, the camping has got to do with our preparations towards the Africa Cup of Nations, and it will be a pre-tournament camping. I understand that they are looking at 3 places actually. They are looking at Abu Dhabi or Dubai and then Turkey. So what it means is that they would have to sit with the sports minister as well as the normalization committee president, Dr. Kofi Amwa, to settle on. The technical team have already gone to these places to check the facilities.
So Dubai,
Abu Dhabi and Turkey.
So UAE or...
Yeah, it's very, very hot. It's very hot in Egypt during the Africa Cup of Nations time. That's in June. So they have to get a place of similar weather to acclimatize themselves before they go. We've had issues where, we thought that it was hot somewhere, and then we went there to train, and then when we got to the tournament venue, it was different.
I remember, this argument. Remember pre-2015, we went to Spain.
That's what I don't mention. Why are you mentioning Spain?
Was it Spain?
It was Spain. Why are you mentioning Spain?
And people blasted the team. Oh my God.
So we have to get.
But what happened at the end of the tournament?
Well, we were in the final.
We were in the final. I remember the coaches kept saying, people talk too much.
The thing is, we always know be okay from the start till we see what will come
out of it.
Yeah, in the end. So if you started very poorly, people will criticize you. But at the end, when it turns out well, people will praise you.
Anyway, so let's go to Asante Kotoko. I mean, we've had to speak about some of their players in relation to the Black Stars. Now let's look at the game that was played yesterday. They played against Al Hilal, and we have Abdul Karim Musa, who watches Sudanese football religiously, if I should put it that way, joining us on the line. Hello, Abdul. Abdul.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
Yes, doing well. Thank you. First of all, I mean, Al Hilal, you were telling me on WhatsApp that they came into this CAF Confederations Cup with the aim of topping the group. That's interesting.
Oh, yes. Well, initially to top the group, but of course to go as far as possible in this competition. We felt that we have prepared well for this competition after last year's disastrous campaign. We reached the same stage and we didn't manage to qualify. So it was a big shock to everyone. But for this campaign, we have prepared very well. The camp in UAE, in Dubai for this tournament.
Wow.
So and we managed to sign a few good foreign players. So we have high hopes for this campaign. And of course, for you to progress as far as possible, you need to top the group in order to avoid the other top teams that top their groups early on in the competition, you understand? So that was the aim from the beginning.
Yeah, tell us about the preparation, just for the benefit of my listeners. You camped in Dubai, and then where else?
They camped in Dubai for 1 month.
Yeah.
And then where we played a derby match against Al Merrikh. In Dubai, it was hosted by the Emirati people, and both teams were given I think like $200,000 for the season by the Emirati. So it was a good camp.
And I remember you tweeting the photo, and there were so many people who went to watch that derby game, even though it wasn't in Sudan and it was in Dubai.
Yes, exactly. Yes, there's so many people there, and the preparations went very well. And then they had to go back to Sudan because it was the start of the league. It's a transitional season in Sudan at the moment. So we played like 7 or 8 good games in the league before the CAF Confederation Cup had even started. So we went into the competition quite well prepared. Of course, the main aim was to progress in the CAF Champions League, but of course we were knocked out by Club African. Very unfortunately knocked out, to be honest. We deserved to go through, but we were relegated to the CAF Confederation Cup, and now we are trying to go all the way. Yeah,
we have the Asante Kotoko CEO George Amoako on the line. But Pep, final question before I go to him. Stay on the line when I finish with you. There were scenes at the end of the game where it seemed that officials of Al Hilal were speaking to Sonia Yakuba on the pitch, and they seemed to be taking his phone. Was there anything said in the Sudanese media about Al Hilal possibly coming for him? In fact, I saw your tweet saying that this is a player that your club may be signing in June. Tell us more about that.
To be honest with the tweet, I was joking a bit, to be honest.
Okay.
But at the moment, there's nothing concrete. It's just interest, and we were interested in the way he played and how he's been performing in this competition. So he's a player we've been watching. But at the moment, there has not been any negotiations or anything concrete. He's on the short list. But we will see. We still have 3 months until the transfer window. We will see the players that we have in our squad at the moment, and we will see how they perform, and then we'll see if we will need to add any more players. But he's a player we're interested in.
Okay, stay on the line, and you can say hello to the Kotoko CEO because I'm going to speak to both of you. Mr. George Amoako, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yes. After yesterday's game, Kotoko, our third, what is the mood like around the club, considering that, before the game, it was clear that if Kotoko won, it was going to be a straight berth into the quarterfinals?
Yes, certainly our supporters are not happy about the outcome of the match played yesterday. But I still believe that we still have some confidence in our ability to qualify in Zambia. We are working very hard to ensure victory in Zambia.
Yeah. Yesterday, would you say that the team, and I know you are not a coach, but of course you would have your own opinion, that Kotoko gave too much respect to Al Hilal, and that was the main issue?
You call it giving respect to Hilal, eh?
Yeah. Yes.
Hilal is a fantastic side.
Yeah.
They play very well, very mature football, and it is not surprising. They've been together for a very long time. Their coach is very experienced, he knows his way around, and that is the outcome of what we saw yesterday. Let's give them what they do. They are a good side.
Oh, yeah.
we played against a very good side and drew.
Yeah. So going forward, I mean, we have Abdul Kader, who watches Sudanese football and is a fan of Al Hilal too. So he keeps saying we. But about the larger picture, Hilal are interested in Yakuba. But we know that all the teams that have played Kotoko so far, every one of them, the two Zambian teams, Nkana, Zesco, and Hilal, are interested in your star player. Are you worried that you can lose this guy, Sonny Yakuba, by the end of this campaign?
We hear those interests in the media. Nobody has come to us to talk about his transfer. We know he's our player, he's our star player, and we are keeping him.
Abdul Kader, you hear the Kotoko CEO. He says they are keeping him. What's your response?
Yes, as I said to you, Gary, first of all, I'd like to say hi to the Kotoko COO, and I hope that they managed to qualify from Zambia. It is a tough game, but it's possible. Al Hilal, we went to Zambia and we managed to get a draw with 10 man in Ndola against Zesco. They are not at their best at the moment, Zesco, and they are out of the competition now, so they have nothing to play for. So I think Kotoko should go out for the win. In regards to Yakuba Songe, as I said, there's nothing concrete at the moment. It's just like interest and Al Hilal officials at the game yesterday, they like the way the player performed. But there has not been any official contact with Kotoko board or CEO or anything like this. As I said, there's nothing concrete at the moment. Even at the moment, Al Hilal, all our foreign spots are filled. So there's no way we can sign a foreign player. So we will see until June, and we will assess the performance of the players we have in our team, and then we will see if we need to make any additions.
Okay. All right. Abdul Kader, I have to let you go now. Many, many thanks for your time, and all the best in your final game as well.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Okay. Mr. George Amwako, please stay with us. You have 3 of your players now called into the Black Stars. Do you see this as vindication that going into the CAF Confederations Cup was the right decision to take as a club?
This is an obvious answer you want to solicit from me, isn't it?
we need to hear it from you sometimes.
At times, things are so obvious you don't ask.
Among the squad, what is the mood like, especially when the news came out that, or when the rumor started last week that these 3 players will be called? How did it fire up the interest and the motivation for the other players as well?
Well, the local football scene is such that no activity is going on seriously. And for that matter, if you want to engage some local players in the Black Stars, you might probably have to look at Kotoko and Kotoko alone. That is what the Black Stars handlers would want to have. 3 players from Kotoko to join the team for the match against Kenya. That's all there is to it. We are concentrating on our last game in Zambia with those players. And I think that what would be a sense of motivation to them will be the fact that they've been called to the national team, the Black Stars. So they will have to go and show that stuff there in Zambia as national team players. That is the advantage we have from this call. And I believe they will take that up and do their best in Zambia to enable us qualify.
Okay. Finally, you play this weekend with a win being what you need. The away performances in this Group C have not been very, very good, it must be said, apart from Kariobangi Sharks. And that was not even in the group phase proper. The away form of Asante Kotoko has been pretty difficult. I mean, is there any fear in the team that, you can't do it?
Well, we did very well in the preliminary stages, isn't it?
Yes, you did.
We drew with Kariobangi Sharks
and beat Cotton.
Cotton Sport 3-2 away.
Yes.
This stage obviously is more competitive and require more effort than before. We've lost both away matches, but we need this win to qualify, and we indeed want to qualify. So let's put the away losses behind for the 2 games and see what will happen in Zambia against Glasgow.
Okay, thank you, sir, and all the best in your journey to Zambia. I believe you leave tomorrow?
Probably on Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Kotoko CEO George Amwaku. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Right. So that about wraps up the show. Today has been Black Stars and Kotoko. We'll continue the discussion throughout the week, especially with the fact that there will be a lot of talk involving how many players are regulars with the Black Stars, what they bring to the table, and more importantly, will Kwesi Appiah give them playing time, knowing that the game against Kenya for us is the beginning of the start of the African Cup of Nations, for which the Black Stars have already qualified. And so we'll be back next week with more. I'm Gary Al Smith, and this is the Joy Sports Track. Bye-bye.